Welcome to Techno Learning. In this video, we are going to develop a biometric in and out record application. And now I have to open the Android Studio for it. So let me open it. Click on Create New Project and Next Activity. And then here I have to give the name of the application as Biometric. Okay. Then select the language as Java because we are going to code this app within Java. And now I have to click on finish. Okay, so now the project is built up and I have to go in this manifest to give the permission for using the fingerprint feature, that is use biometric. Okay, so now I have to go in this build Gradle to add some dependencies here. So let me add the dependency and I'm making the space for it. Okay, now you have to write this implementation and then within the codes you have to give the dependency. Okay, so the dependency is Android X dot biometric, and now the version for this biometric is 1.0.1. okay, new dependency, and now this is Android X dot lifecycle and its version should be given after the live data. Okay, so now the version for this particular dependency belongs to KTX is 2.2.0. okay, now the another one, and it is Android X dot lifecycle, and now it is lifecycle, and again it is view model. Okay, so these two dependencies for view model and live data, and both the version number is same. Okay, and now I have to give another dependency here, that is Android X, and it is the legacy support. Okay, and as you already know that the legacy support can also be turned on from the starting screen of creating a new project, but don't worry, you have to just give the permission as I am giving the dependency, not permission. Okay, and now the dependency for recycler view here, so let me add that, and here I have to give the version, and its version is 1.1.0. okay, and now what you have to do is to just click on sync now and the dependencies will be downloaded there. Okay, so no problem, everything is fine till now. And now what we have to do is to come within this layout that is located within this resources folder, and now we have to edit this, the design part. Okay, so let me remove the text view, and instead of text view let me add the button. Okay, so I'm adding the button, and let me give the text for this particular button as login. So now you can see that in the right side of your screen, and most importantly the ID for this button should be given as button underscore login. Okay, perfectly fine, no issues. The button ID is given and the text is given. Now come back here, right click and go to new, then resource, layout resource file, and make it name as entry, and now you have to edit this. So what you have to do within this XML design, actually we are preparing for the entry. So like if a person comes and puts his finger on the biometric, then it should be recorded in the entry. So we are just making the screen for that, okay, after the login part. So now I'm giving the layout margin. So the layout margin is given as 8 dp, and the gravity for this linear layout is taken as center, okay. So now the orientation, as linear layout always requires an orientation, okay. So this is almost completed, and now what we have to do is to make a text view here. After that I'm giving the ID for this text view as diary date, okay. And now the margin from the start is taken as 8 dp. Again the margin from the top is taken as 4 dp, and then the color for the particular text is to be taken as white, okay, no issues. And color should be taken as black, as white is the background of the screen, and if you take up the white color of the text then it will be not visible to you, okay, that's why black. And then size is 24 sp. Done. Now another text view is here, so making this text view, and the ID for this text view is diary title, okay. And width and height is taken as match and wrap. Again the gravity, so the gravity is taken as center. Now the text color, what I have to give in this text color is Android color hollow blue dark, okay. Then paste it on the previous text view also, okay. Now what we have to do here is to see first of all the size for the text. So the size for this particular text view is 24 sp, and now the text view is completed. And again here what we have to make another text view, okay. So for this text view, width and height as match and wrap, and the ID is diary entry, okay. Again the layout margin from the start is taken as 8 dp, and then margin from the top is taken as 8 dp again, okay. Margin from the end is also 8 dp, and margin from the bottom is 8 dp, okay. Now the layout gravity, it should be gravity instead of layout gravity, so let me try for it, gravity, and make it center. Perfectly fine, no issues, okay. And now what we have to do here is to give the text color for this particular text view. So that color is same, hollow blue dark, and from the Android library itself, okay. Now what we have to do is to remove this extra space, okay. So this view is completed, and now let me just scroll it. As you cannot see the text because I have not added the text, so I am adding the text. Now you can see the text in the right side of your screen in the design palette, okay. Now I'm giving the text for every text view. It's a dummy text, you can add the text of your choice also, okay. So now this one is text view 3, add it, perfectly done. Okay, now go back to the project again, and here we have to create activity, newer activity. Right click, go to new, then we have to go to an activity, and which activity we want, like empty activity. Here I have to give the name of this activity, so I will just give the name as diary activity. Click on finish. Okay, so the new activity is created. Now I will just code this particular activity, so let me code this. Okay, so what I have to do here is to, first of all, within this constraint layout we have to add views. Okay, and now what view it is toolbar. First of all, so we are adding the toolbar, as we are making a tab layout here. Okay, so toolbar, and then the width and height is taken as match parent, and the width should be equals to the size of action bar. Okay, perfectly done. And now what I have to do is to give the background, so I'm giving the background as Android color, it is hololight green. So now you can see the toolbar in the right side of the screen. Okay, now the elevation for this particular toolbar is taken as 4dp, and here I have to give the theme, so I'm giving the theme as style, and then theme, then overlay. Okay, so theme overlay dot app compat dot action bar. And now I have to give the properties for the constraint layout, like end to end of parent, and then start to start of parent. Okay, now top to top of parent. Okay, again it is pop-up theme, so it is from the style, and then theme overlay dot app compat dot light. Okay, so now what I have to do here is to add the most important tab layout. Okay, so tab layout is added here, and the width is given as match parent. First of all, let me give the ID for this toolbar also, so I'm giving the ID as diary underscore toolbar. Okay, now the ID for this particular tab layout also, so I'm giving the ID for this tab layout. And now the background to be taken as hex color, give it as 8 and then 00. Again the duplicate parent state, make it false. Okay, and now the another property, that is constraint layout property, top to bottom of, and give the ID as diary toolbar. Again here we have to add up that tab indicator, and within this tab indicator color, what we have to do is to just give the color for indicating the current tab. Like if there are two tabs, then this color will tell you that you are on that particular screen of the tab. Okay, now the text color for the tab is taken as white. Okay, and now the absolute X layout editor 0dp. Okay, so this is done, and now we have to add one thing that is called the tab ID. The text is to be added as your entries. Okay, and now after this tab item, what we have to add, let me see, I have to copy it and paste it. Okay, and then you just have to change this particular text to calendar. Okay, so in one tab there was entries, and in the another tag there will be the calendar. Okay, so now let me take it within this tab layout. Now you can see that these things, like in the right side of the screen, the red line and this view. So let me change the color. Now you can see that both options are there, and if you will click on your entries, you will be able to see the entries, and in the second part you will be able to see the calendar. Okay, so now let me add the background, and I'm adding the background as orange color. Okay, and what I have to do now is to see whether anything went wrong. Nothing wrong. Now let me try to change this color to white. Okay, perfectly fine, it's looking good. And now after this tab layout, what we have to add, the recycler view. Actually the recycler view is needed for showing the list of your entries. That's why we are adding a particular recycler view here, and we have already made the entry layout earlier, which was for this recycler view only. Like every item of this recycler view will have the design like entry layout, which we have worked on earlier. Okay, now let me give the properties to it, like bottom to bottom of parent, and then top to bottom of here also, to give it as tab layout entries. Okay, so the recycler view is completed now, and what I have to add here is to add that calendar for the second tab item, and giving it ID, and the ID is calendar view. Okay, perfectly fine, no issues. Now what I have to do here is to give the margin from the start should be 16 dp, and then the margin from the top will be 8 dp. Okay, margin from the end is 16 dp again, and then the background. Okay, so the background will be what kind of color we want here. Let me check, it's from the Android library, and then color holo green. I think it is not looking good, so let me add the another color. Let me go for
these colors provided here, like blue light. Okay, so it is light blue color. And now let me make the visibility as visible for this one right now. And again, constraint end to end of is parent, and then start to start of parent. Okay, now top to bottom of tab layout entries. Okay, so now it is looking somewhat easier. And now we have to add the text view. As if the user pick out some date from this calendar, then we have to show that date within this text view. Let me add this here, giving its width and height, and now the ID, and the ID is date text. Okay, and now the margin from top is taken as 10 dp, margin from the end is also 10 dp. Okay, it should be 17 dp. Let me change it to 17 also. Okay, and now the constraint layout properties, like end to end of parent, and then this top to bottom of calendar view. Okay, so this text view is completed. Now let me remove this extra space from here. As you can see that I'm just scrolling down and it is error free. If you have messed up at anywhere, then please pause the video and correct your code. Okay, so this is done. Now we have to right click on that and create a new activity here. I have to give the name for this particular activity as diary create entry. Okay, so this activity is created. Now let me go to within this XML design. Okay, so now I'm in this XML design. Okay, and let me give its fit as system window as false. Then now what I have to do here is to check for that window soft input and its mode, actually, like adjust nothing. Okay, so now what this diary entry will do is to, first of all, we have to add all these necessary things, like you need toolbar also, and you have to give the ID for this toolbar as tv underscore create diary. Okay, and now let me give the border to this thing, and like it is hollow green. Okay, so now what I have to do is to give that minimum width, and minimum width should be equals to the size of the action toolbar. Okay, so it will automatically take that. Okay, no issues. Now the constraint layout properties will be there, like end to end of parent, and then the gain property is there, and this property is start to start of parent, and then top to top of parent, and again here what I have to do is navigation icon. So I'm giving as attribute and home up as up indicator. What is the title? So let me give the title as make a new entry. This title is added within the toolbar successfully. Now you have to add text input field here, as I am adding text input, added text to text input layout. Okay, now let me give the ID for this, and after that we have to give the properties for this. Okay, so now the margin part is there, giving the margin, and the margin thing is there, like from top 32 dp, and then the constraint layout properties are there. Okay, so for now what I have to do is to give top to bottom of, and then I have to give the ID. Okay, now let me make some space here, and then here I have to add this text input and change it to input edit text. Let me give the ID for this, and the ID for this is diary input title. Okay, so be attentive towards the IDs, as if you made any mistake within these IDs, then this will affect the whole app. Okay, so hint is given as title. Now the input type is like text, short message, autocorrect, and then this cap sentence. Again the maximum line is 1. Okay, now what I have to do here is to make a scroll view, and it should be match to 0 dp, and the ID for this scroll view should be scroll view 2. Okay, again the margin from the start is 8 dp, and then margin from the top is 16 dp, sorry, it's 8 dp, and margin from the end is also 8 dp. Okay, now the constraint layout properties, such as constraint bottom to top of, and its ID will be given here. Okay, now another property, end to end of parent. The previous line showing error because we haven't created that particular view yet. Okay, now it should be parent. Okay, and again what I have to add here is to top to bottom of what? Top to bottom of diary input title layout. Okay, so now it is last vertical fit X, last vertical bias, make it 0. Okay, so now what I have to do here is to check like the vertical bias is done and all these things are done, but let me copy all these things and paste it again so that our code can be minimized. Okay, so now just you have to change the IDs and your code will work as a charm. So make the new IDs for it like I am making. Okay, now what you have to do is to change all the
Okay, so this is the ID for this particular text input, edit text, and now I have to give some properties like making change in the margin from the top side and all these things. Okay, so now what I have to add here is to add margin from the bottom side is 32 dp, and then the padding from the bottom is 8 dp. Okay, so now remove this first of all, and then what you have to do here is to see the height, make it change to match parent. Okay, then the hint should be entry. Okay, and remove this line. Okay, so for now the max line should not be 1 for this, and single line should also be false. Okay, so these are some properties, and now what we gonna do here is to remove this extra space first of all. Okay, so I have removed the extra space, and now let me see what the issue within this scroll view, as it is showing this error. So let me check first of all that's what is the issue. So I think we have not closed that particular thing correctly. So first of all make this okay. So now one error is there. So why this error is occurring, let me check. But before that we have to add one button here, and that button should have height and width as wrap and wrap. Again the ID for this button is diary input enter. Okay, and now the margin from the top side is 8 dp, and the margin from the end is also 8 dp. Okay, now margin from the bottom is 8 dp, and then the text for this particular button is save. Like when you have provided the information, then you will clicking on that save button, it will save up your entry. Okay, now some properties that are required for this linear constraint layout. Okay, like bottom to bottom of parent, end to end of parent, top to bottom of, and here you have to give the ID for this scroll view 2. Okay, close this, everything is good. Remove this extra space first of all, and now you can see that there is no error and it is created. I'm just scrolling down. If you have messed up at anywhere, then pause the video and correct your code. Okay, so for now we'll come back here and right click, and we will be creating a Android resource directory for menu. Okay, so let me create here menu, changes to menu, resource type, click on OK. So here you can see that the directory created. Now we have to create an Android source layout menu resource file. Okay, so create it, give the name as whatever you want. I'm just giving it the name as menu only. Okay, so now menu, and then you have to click on this OK button. It will be created here. And now what we have to do is to add menu item within this menu file. So let me add an item here. Here the item, and the ID for this item is menu action underscore new entry, and then enabled equals to true. What icon you gonna add here, you have to give it here only, like Android Studio, then input add. Okay, and then what you have to do is to give this icon a color, and it should be, I think, green kind of thing will be better. So blue bright, yeah, blue bright is okay for this. And now what you gonna do is to make it visible true, right, and so always. Then you will able to see that in the right side of your screen at the top in the right most. It is there. It is showing one error, so we have to give the title for this. Title should be menu. Okay, now there is no error, everything is okay. You don't have to worry about anything, just remove this. Afterwards, what we gonna do is to go back in this project, and within this project, let me see, right click here, and you have to create a Java class. So create it and give the name as entry for this Java class. Okay, so what we gonna do within this Java class, let's see. So this Java class will act as a model. Okay, so what kind of model that I am referring it, we have to understand it. So first of all, it should have ID and then date, as we are making a biometric application, so these things are mandatory. Title and then text, and this model class object data will be stored into the database. Okay, let me initialize the constructor. First of all, the empty constructor is there. Okay, then again alt plus insert, then again we have to make the constructor, but this time this is the parameterized constructor that we are creating for date, title and text. Okay, the constructor are created right now, and now we have to just make a function. It's a public static entry, and then create diary entry. Okay, then it will take up the context within this, and then the string title. Afterwards, it will take another string of text, and let me open this. I have opened this, and now date equals to calendar dot get instance dot get time. Okay, so date is taken, and now the date format should be Android dot text dot format dot date format dot get date format, and here you will pass out the context Okay, no issues. Then a string final date. So we are just formatting the date that we are getting from the system. Okay, so we have formatted it, and now what I have to do here is to make entry, new entry, the object of that this model class, actually pass the final date within this, and then the title, then text to it. It will call up that second constructor, the parameterized one. Then you have to return this object. Okay, so here we go, and now this is almost completed. All we need that getter and setter methods. We'll be generating by right click. Then you have to go to which place, like it is generate, or you can do it by alt plus insert. Then getter and setter, select all, click on OK. Here you can see that all methods are being created here, and now everything is good. I'm here, and here what I have to do is to create another Java class, and I should name it as Biometric Activity. Okay, so I'm just not making an activity towards a class, so I've given the name as Biometric Act. Here we will be performing all those instructions that are required for managing that biometric features. Okay, so we are good to go with that, creating an executor, and then already have a biometric manager, then biometric prompt, and biometric prompt, taking it as here, and again we have biometric. It should not be prompt, it should be, let me check, it should be prompt info instead of that. Okay, so for now you have to create a function. It's a boolean check, that for checking the compatibility, like if some device doesn't have that fingerprint sensor, then it will not be recognizable within that device. So we are checking it with programmatically, either the device is having that biometric feature enabled or not. Biometric sensor hardware enabled or not. Okay, then this is biometric manager dot from, then pass the context to it. Okay, no issues there. Again we have this if biometric dot can authenticate. Okay, we are just checking it with biometric manager dot biometric success, opening within this if block. So we are just returning true. If we are checking if biometric can authenticate, then return true, otherwise it will return false. It's just a boolean function. Okay, no issues. Now just change it by clicking on that red bulb. Okay, now let me see what's the issue here. Everything is there in front of your eyes, and now we have to create another function. It should be public void and then biometric prompt. Okay, So whenever you unlock your phone, you can see that there is biometric options, like you can do it by your fingerprint. So it is just like that, it will show up you that prompt. Okay, and it will be done by the help of executor. So biometric prompt equals to new, and then biometric prompt. Then what we gonna do here is to pass the fragment activity context. Okay, so the context is of type fragment activity, and passing the executor, and then the new biometric prompt dot authentication callback. Okay, now we have to create this. Okay, so now I am making this, and for this you can see that like it should have another methods inside that, and they are already in suggested list, so why don't we go for that? Like this, you have to just write on, then you can implement this. Okay, here just what you have to do, add 1 or 2 lines within these methods as per your requirements. And this is the good thing, like they provide those functions which are overloaded. Okay, so let me provide the toast message here. And what should be that toast message? Make text, and then passing the context. Afterwards, let me see, authentication, and now authentication error, comma. Here you have to give the time for which you want to show this toast. So the length of the time span is short, then show it. Okay, so again, now this function is completed on authentication error. Now there is another function on authentication succeed. Likewise, if your fingerprint matches, then the authentication will success, and then here will be showing the toast message. So toast dot make text. Okay, and then passing the context, and within this context we will be showing this toast for authentication succeed, and then toast dot length short, then we will be showing up. Okay, so now we have to make an intent. So intent, new intent, and then we have to pass the context. Afterwards we have to move within that diary activity, like your data will be stored in the database after your fingerprints got matched. Okay, now this activity will start. Okay, no issues. Now what we have to do here is to implement this method on authentication failed. So here also the same thing, toast dot make text, and you have to show this message like authentication failed. Okay, now the timing short, then show it. Okay, so almost everything is done, and now let me see what else is left out. If anything is left out, then I'll be making it here only. Okay, so afterwards let me check what I have to do here. So here what I'm doing is to check this function called on authentication failed. After this the prompt info, like whenever you are opening your application, then there will be a prompt, so that prompt will be helpful. So new biometric prompt info, and within this you have to build this basically. So after building this, what you have to do here is to dot set title, and then title will be biometric login. Okay, and then you have to set the subtitle. So the subtitle will be login. Okay, login using your fingerprint. Very good. And now the set negative button text, so it should be cancel. Like whenever you see a prompt, either there will be option for the positive thing or the negative thing. Then biometric prompt dot authenticate, pass the prompt info within it. Okay, no issues, everything is going tremendously well. And now what I have to do is to check these errors. So let me check them, what kind of error it is, and then I will be correcting these errors by the help of the red bulbs which are present. So first of all, this error. So this error is due to, let me see, okay, so callback, so it requires some annotation. Now there is one error left out. Again, let me check why this is coming. There may be some another issues also, like let me check the biometric prompt and then the authenticate. It is good. Let's go back and we have to read the full thing. Okay, so back, and then I think we have imported the wrong biometric prompt. Let me check. So okay, now we are checking it with this. Let me check. Okay, so here you can see that it should be the different thing, the Android X1 instead of that. Okay, so yes, this one, import first one. Okay, so now you can see that errors are removed, as some objects have multiple dependencies, so you have to use the Android X dependency. Now it's error free, and if you have messed up at any way, you can correct the code by pausing the video. Okay, now let me move to this main activity here. Okay, I'm on the main activity right now. So for the main activity, what you gonna do is, let's first of all make some managers kind of things, all these objects that are required. So biometric act, as the biometric act class contains all the operational things that are related to biometric manager. And again, there's a button for login, there's login button. Okay, and what I'm gonna do here is to get that biometric act equals to new biometric act. So here the memory initialized for that object. Now we can use this. So first of all, we are checking the compatibility, pass the context this, then check it with true. Okay, let me see. Okay, so it is due to the version things. Okay, now open it, and after opening it, let me make the else block also. So in the if block we need nothing, but in the else block we need a dialog, alert dialog. Okay, so this is also a function that we have to create. So I've created it, void alert dialog. I'll be implementing it. And now what you have to do here is to make this button login mapped with that XML ID. So I'm doing that. Find view by ID and then r.id button login. Okay, and then we are setting the set on click listener for that particular button here. Okay, so let me do this, and we are taking the new, and afterwards we want click listener. So this is how we set on click listener for any button, like on clicking on that particular button what will happen. Okay, so now biometric act main activity dot this, and now what we gonna do, and now making this space out of the scope right now, and this function called alert dialog will be like a general function for showing the alert dialog. First of all, we have to build this alert dialog by the help of a builder. Then within this builder function we are passing the context of this main activity, and again we have to set the title for this alert dialog. So the title is fingerprint diary, and then we have to also set up the icon for this alert dialog. So from where we have to take that icon, so I'm just taking that IC launcher icon. You can add up any image of your choice within that drawable folder, then you can add it in this previous function. Okay, now the message which is to be shown in that alert dialog is there, like your device doesn't support fingerprint feature. That means that device is not having that hardware sensor for fingerprint detection, and this app will only be featureable for the device supports biometric or fingerprint sensor inbuilt in them. Okay, now we have to also set up that positive or negative buttons. So on positive we are setting that exit, and what we gonna do next is dialog, and then it is a lambda function here, finish, and now that function is completed, and here alert dialog alert equals to builder dot create, and after creating it we have to show it, and after showing it what we have to do is to I'm just checking. Okay, so there's a mistake here. I have to just put up the single equals to sign. Okay, so now this is completed, and I'm just scrolling it down. If you have messed up at anywhere, then pause the video and correct your code. Okay, no issues, everything is fine. And now I am within this diary entry, and it is diary create entry. So first of all, the things like toolbar and support action bar kind of things will be set up firstly. So here I am just mapping the toolbar with XML ID, and you can see that it's tb underscore create diary. Okay, and now what I have to do is to set up the navigation for this toolbar also. So navigation on click listener. So what does it gonna do is to make a lambda here again and making like exit. So exit is a custom function that we gonna be create later. Now I have to map the button here. So I'm mapping the button. First of all, we typecast all these things while you are using Java, but in Kotlin it is less required. Here you have this normal brackets, but there you use some angular brackets. Okay, so now setting the on click listener for this particular button, like what does the functionality here. So it can be defined with this set on click listener alert builder dot alert build alert dialog, and here we have to type that create entry. I'm sorry for the wrong spellings. And now dialog dot show. Okay, no issues. I have to remove the extra space from here, and now we have to make some functions. So what kind of functions they are? Like first of all, create entry dialog, and it is here. So as you can see in the previous class also, that we make a alert dialog function customly, and here we are doing the similar thing. Okay, so it should be kept in the mind that how to use such things customly. These things prove to be a kind of professionalism it brings within the developer when you use custom functions. Okay, so here builder dot set message save entry. Okay, so in the above part you are seeing that set on click listener, actually it should also have the another function, and everything will work from the functions. Okay, so set positive button and then lambda here. Okay, and now what we gonna do is to do that text input edit text and input title. Okay, and we are just mapping it with that XML ID. Okay, it is diary input title and then the string title. Okay, so input title dot get text dot to string. So we are just getting the title from that alert dialog. Whenever you use your fingerprint, and then it will be showing that alert dialog, which will ask for fewer details. So we are getting that text from those fields in which you wanna fill your information, like what's your name, what's your entry time, exit time, kind of things. Okay, so here we are doing that only. Now we are getting the text from input text dot get text, and then further we are converting it to string. Okay, so now here what we have to do is to make an object of entry. Entry is a model class that we have made earlier, and it also have some function, and now we have to use that function create diary entry, and In this function we have to pass out the context, okay, then the title and then the text. Okay, so the class name then dot this and then title, okay, and then text. As you can see that now I have to create another Java class here. So what is the name of that Java class? So it is database helper or handler class, which is named as diary entry DB helper. We have to extend it by SQLite, okay, SQLite open helper, as we are going to use the SQLite database here. And you can see that here I'm making a function. It is private static, sorry, it's a variable, not a function. First of all, we have to define some variables like database version, and then here the database name and all these things which are required. These things are very much required when you are using the SQLite open helper. Also, the room database can be an alternative to this, but as we have used room database earlier in the tutorials, so now this is the time to use SQLite open helper for handling the SQLite database here. Okay, entries and then private static, again final, here also the string. Now key ID, so what does it contain? It will contain ID only. Okay, again what we have to do here is to make a string, and now what should be its name, like key underscore title. Okay, so title should be title, and another one private static, and then final string. Okay, now it is key date. Okay, so we are also taking care of that date. And now another one string and then key text. It should have text only. Okay, and now the variables are declared as well as initialized. Now what we have to do here is to make function. What kind of function it will be? Let's see for that. So it's a diary entry DB helper. So the function name is same as the class name, so it's a constructor obviously, and within this constructor we have to make a super call for context, database name, and then database version. Okay, again here private static, then final, and it's returning the string, and it's for creating the entries. As this is a SQLite, we have to take care of inserting, updating, deleting and creating entries within that class. Okay, so here it's a entry. So how to create an entry? Like create table, it's somewhat like SQL. If you have used MySQL, then you remember all these things. So it's also a variable here. that we're gonna use. And now it's like create table entries, and then we have to put this, as you can see, that bracket and then key ID. Also you have to take care about the spaces while making this. You will be seeing the after effects after I make it without space. Then you will be able to see the errors. Okay, now the key title plus text, and again here we have key text, and it is also containing that text. So we are just concatenating the string and making a SQL command here. Basically we are doing that, but we will be getting the errors. So why we are getting these errors? As we have placed wrong double quotes and didn't give space within it, all these kind of issues, and we have to resolve this, because if your command is not proper, then it will not run, and if it will not run, then how can you expect that database will work? So database will not work. Okay, so now the another one. First let's create these things. It is private, static, final, and then string SQL delete entries. We are making this here. What we have to do is to write that drop table if exist. So we are taking care about the existence of the entry also, and then the table name. Now the another one, but it's a function on create. So what does this function will do? Let's see. This function will be used for executing these commands that we have given earlier. So first we have to execute that command, and now what we have to do here is to on upgrade function we have right now. So db dot execute SQL, and then SQL delete entries, again on create, pass db. Right, no issues. Everything is there, and again we are making these things like public and then void and delete as table. This will run that particular drop command. So SQL like database, we have database db, and then this dot get writable database. Now what we have to do is db dot, we have to just run this command and SQL delete entries. Okay, again on create db. No issues here, everything is going in a flow. Again, if we have to add an entry, then if we are getting some command, then it should be in that parameters. That's why we are taking that parameter here. And now what we gonna do with this parameter, we'll be using it within this function. First of all, SQLite database db, and then this dot get writable database. As we are going to write something within the database, so we have to call this function.
and then content values equals to new content values. Okay, everything is fine. Again, what we gonna do, values dot put, then we have to put up what, like key date, and then diary entry, and then dot get date. Close it, and we have to do it for the variables we have, like ID, text, title. So first of all, we have done it for date. Now title is done. Now we have the text part, so text, and now get text. Okay, everything is fine. Again, db.insert, what we have to pass out within this, like table entries, and then null, and again values, then close it. Okay, then db.close. So now just do it like this, no issues. But there you can see that there are two errors, but before resolving them we have to make functions. Okay, so here I'm making a function which is returning a list of type entries, get all entries. So it is just like that command, select star from which table name and kind of thing. So we are just getting that list of entries, making a array list here. And now what we gonna do here, sorry for this mark. Now first of all, the space should be there so that it can be visible. It says string variable select query. Okay, so select query is simple, select then plus, but before plus we have to add that star from, then the table entry, and order by command. So order by, you have to place the space only, then key ID, and again by DESC. DESC means decreasing order. Okay, so now SQLite database, like DB equals to this dot get writable database, and then cursor equals to db dot raw query, pass out this select query within this, and then null within the selection arguments. Okay, so almost everything is up to pinch, and now we are checking if cursor dot move to first, and here, like if it happens, then we are going for a do while loop. So what does that do while loop do is to make first of all that object of entry model here. So we have made up that, and after that use it like that, set ID, and no, it's not set, yeah, it's set ID. Okay, and within this you have to pass out like integer dot parse int. You are just parsing an integer from a string from the cursor dot get string, and then the column index is 0,
and then the another thing, set date, and for that you have to do the same as we are doing cursor.getString and column index. So in SQLite there are column index, every attribute is having their column index value, so we are just making use of that column index here, and we are going from one field to another field by like incrementing in the column index. Okay, so now data diary entry dot set text, set title is added, and then we are finally adding this diary entry. Okay, and here we have to give the while condition for it. So while condition will be cursor dot move and to next. Okay, if there is a next index, then it will be gone through up to that. Okay, now we are just closing the cursor, and then entry, we are returning that particular entry list. Okay, no issues. And then removing the extra space from here, so we have removed it. Now let's come to these bugs. So these are the bugs within that query itself, and you can see that like first bug is there, drop table if exist. So let's see what kind of bug it is. So we have not given the space actually, and it gonna concatenate wrongly, and so that it will make a wrong command. So we have to beware of that thing also. See, exist expected got exist. Make that a space, you can see that the error got removed. And now we have to do is for that first command also. So we are doing that right now and adding the space everywhere like I'm doing. Also you will be encountering various errors when you are making commands, so make sure that you have given the spaces correctly while writing that command. So here I am telling you, that's why I created this wrong command, so that the value or the importance of these small things can be remembered to you. So now you can see that everything is error free, there are no errors. And let me just scroll it down, and if you are getting any error, then you can correct it. So where to see that either error is occurring or not? In the right side of the top you can see that yellow light. It will be red if you are having any error, so make sure it is yellow. Yellow means it's some compile time warnings. So now let's come within this diary entry, and here we have to use that diary entry DB helper. So what we gonna do with that here, like making its object, and we have to pass the context here. So let me pass the context, and after this what we have to do is to add that entry. So pass what you wanna pass, like we have why this error is there. Okay, entry, I'm using the wrong name. Okay, so we have added that entry within that database, and for now what we gonna do is to just close it. So it was a simple task, like we have taken the data from our edit text and then we have just added it to the database by the help of that diary entry DB helper class. Now we gonna build this. So builder dot, and it is showing error, builder dot set negative button. Then we have to make that button as text ID is cancel, and then the same thing, the lambda one. What you have to do here, to just open this, and now you just have to make sure that it is ending correctly. Okay, and then dialog builder dot create and return that particular dialog. Okay, remove this extra space from here, and again we have to make like private void exit. So exit was also a customized function, so we just have to do it intent equals to, then new intent, we're gonna pass here the context. So the context is passed, and then diary activity dot class. So we are moving from create entry to diary activity on exiting function called. Okay, then we're gonna start activity when passing the intent within this. Finally, this create diary entry. So it is showing error because its name is diary create entry. Okay, so diary create entry dot this, and then finish it. So this is the exit function customized finished. Okay, so there's one error, like not having that thing. Okay, so one bracket. Now it is also error free. Just scrolling it down and it's done. Okay, now move to this diary activity. What this gonna do here, let's see that. First of all, we have to make a list here. So here, making the list, and then list of entries actually. Then we're gonna use it within this on create function, but before that we have to map up with that toolbar also. So continuing with that, r.id, and then we have to give that thing here, diary toolbar. Okay, so for now here we have to set up a recycler view also, as your entries will be recorded within that database, and it will be further shown in a list, and that list is brought up by recycler view. Then we are going for calendar view also, to show a calendar within the application, giving its ID r.id.calendar view. Okay, perfectly fine. Then set visibility and make it invisible for some time. Okay, then we have a diary entry database helper, and what we gonna do with this is to make its object pass the context this, and then use entries for db helper dot get all entries,
Okay, so it will give you a list of these entries, and then you have to show up that list within the recycler view by the help of this adapter. So I'm doing this only, passing the entries here, and then recycler view dot set adapter, then adapter. Okay, and afterwards linear layout manager equals to new linear layout manager, pass this, and then linear layout manager dot vertical. Okay, then make it false like this. Okay, and now recycler view dot set layout manager and pass out this linear layout manager within that. Okay, now the tab layout. So we have to map this tab layout first of all with the XML ID, and it's tab layout underscore entries. Okay, then we have to set up tab on selected listener for this, and on selected we are working on positions, tab dot get position. Okay, and now what we gonna do, use switch for positions and then cases. Okay, so case 0 calendar dot set visibility view dot gone, then recycler view dot, what we have to do here is to set visibility, make it visible, so view dot visible. So if you are selecting the first position, then within that tab layout, then it will show you that recycler view list, and if you choose the second position of the tab layout, then it will show you the calendar and it will hide up that recycler view. So this is the little technique to work with this tab layout. Okay, so recycler view dot set visibility view dot gone, and then calendar view dot set visibility view dot visible. Perfectly fine, no issues till now. And here what we have to do is to remove this extra space first of all, and now just come after this tab thing, we have to also work on a text view. Like if the user put up any date from the calendar, then we will show up that date with the help of text view. So calendar dot set on date change listener, and on selected day change, what we gonna do here is month equals to month plus 1, because it starts from 0, that's why I'm adding plus 1. Okay, now setting that text view, like day of month, then month, and then year. It will be shown up within this text view. Okay, now let me remove the extra space from here. Okay, so now we have to also work on a menu. Like we have to set up a create option menu. There will be a add button present within that menu. Whenever you will clicking on that add button, it will show you up that alert dialog, and then you will proceed further. Okay, so get menu inflator dot inflate, and then map this with r.menu.menu, and afterwards we have to also implement the function on option item selected from the menu. So what we gonna do here is like to add up switch item dot get item ID Okay, then keys r.id dot menu action new entry, and then intent equals to new intent, and then we'll be passing up that diary activity dot this. Okay, so basically it's a context, and then there is diary create activity dot class. Okay, so dot class. Okay, so it will start up that particular activity. Then we have to start it by this help of the start activity and pass out the content intent within that, and then we have to return true. Okay, now remove this, and by default you have to add this super call. So now there are two errors because we have not implemented the adapter yet. So now we're gonna work on the adapter part. So what we gonna do within this adapter? So first of all we have to extend it. So let me extend it first of all by recycler view.adapter, and then to pass diary adapter dot view holder, and you have to create this class. Okay, and now you have to implement these functions also. So we have implemented these functions. Now what we're gonna do is to make a view holder. Here let me come here, and then we have to implement a function there also. So first of all let me see on which things I have to work. So first of all I will be working with that adapter only, then we'll move to that view holder. So first of all make that text view title, then text view, and actually we are making a little mistake here. So this is also a case when you are getting into Android, as this is not the place where we have to do this. This is to be done within this view holder. Okay, now you got my point. And then we have to implement a method super call. So within that super call will be mapping up these things. So let me do that. I'll just map up these things like date, then text view. Again what we have, item view dot find view by id, then r dot id dot what the id is, diary date. Okay, now just to make duplicate 3 times, and then title, change its id to diary title. Again text view, and here also the diary entry. Okay, okay, fine. Then what we have to do is to get a text view here, and then return that particular text view for setting up that calendar date. Now let me see if there's any issue regarding this. So move forward. Here you have to make a list. So first of all private, then list of entry. Make a list here. You have made the list, and then we have these functions, but before that there should be constructor. So let's set up that constructor to initialize this, and then what we gonna do next, let me see if there's any change. No. Okay, so we have now view holder on create view holder. Remove this return statement, and then you have to add that context equals to parent dot get context, and then layout inflator. You just have to set up all these things. Layout inflator dot from, then context, then view entry view equals to inflator dot inflate, then r dot layout dot entry, then pass the parent here, then inflator. False you have to pass. Okay, then view holder, you just have to pass this entry view within this view holder, then you have to return this holder. So this is what we gonna do within this view holder. So return this holder, and now there's a function get item count, so just have to return the size of that list, m.entry.size. Finish. Now let me see what's the issue. Okay, like what kind of thing it is expecting. Is always null. Okay, within this, right, expected this, everything is, I think, okay. Then okay, we have forgotten that function brackets. It's a very silly mistake actually. And now this on bind view holder, you have to make entry diary entry entries dot get position, taken up that from index by index. Then you have to set up all these things. So date, then holder dot date, and set up that particular text view with this get date, and you have to do this for the next two text views also. Like we have a title there, so do the same for the title text view, like diary entry dot get title. Okay, then title dot set paint flag, and get padding paint flags. Okay, not padding. Again paint dot underline text. Okay, this is done. Final one, holder dot text view mapped, and then setting up set text, and you have to pass this get text. Okay, no issues. You can see that. Now what we gonna do here, dot get text. Okay, as you can see that this is error free. Now I'm just scrolling. If you have step at anywhere, then you can pause the video and correct your code. Now I have to run this. So I'm running it, and Gradle is building, and it is installing, and it is installed successfully. Now let me run the application. First of all, you have to log in. Now you have to give your fingerprints.
I have given it. Authenticate is succeed. Then you have to click on that plus button present at the top. Okay, so I have pressed, and here you have to give your entry. Like I have given my name, and then like entry like arrival or leave time, then save it. Now you will be able to see this. Okay, so this was the demo, and if you are coming again, then you can add multiple entries also. Like I'm making another entry with a different name. Okay, giving that left, save it. Okay, then this is the calendar, and now